Now from New York City, founder of Geltrude and Company, Dan Geltrude. Dan, thank you so much for joining me. So Dan, I'm just imagining how much this is going to cost these companies and the big retailers and what that's going to mean for the consumer. I would imagine this is going to come at a pretty big price tag.
It certainly is. Between the incredible amount of demand for product that is out there, and now we have this funnel that's getting thinner and thinner and thinner, or more narrow as it comes through, meaning the ability to actually get product to where it's supposed to go. There's only one place pricing can go, and that's up. We are already in an inflationary period. Now you put into the mix here that we have all these cargo ships that are out in ports all over the world, not just in Los Angeles or on the other coast of the United States, and we simply can't get the product off of these ships. On top of that, it's not so much you could say, well, the line in this port is shorter, let's move our ships there. Each port has a different capability for unloading various types of cargo. So you actually have to have a match to what the cargo is, to what the port can actually take on. So when you factor in not enough workers, over demand for what we could imagine, we are going to see inflation through this holiday season like we wouldn't have imagined it to be.
Yeah, so your predictions are that it will be much worse than what we expected. I mean, you just kind of look at the prices of things, and we've been talking about on the show, just like gas and milk and other things. But I have an example for you. Went to buy a snow shovel. We bought one last year, but we wanted a couple extra ones. It was $39 last year. Same exact shovel selling for $129. That is insane, and that's just an example. And I'm sure so many people watching the show are going out to buy things, and they're seeing prices that they would have never thought of in their entire lives. Like, it's just getting so expensive, and there's just like no help on the way. Like, where's Team Biden? And these are the same people that have been pretending that like inflation's been temporary or it's going to be temporary, but like there's no end in sight.
Inflation is not temporary. And look, here's the big risk related to this inflationary period that we're going to be in for, I would say, quite some time. In order to get inflation under control, what the Fed may have to do is raise interest rates. That's what you do. And when you raise interest rates, it becomes a game changer economically across the board. It could actually throw the nation right into a recession, which is what we saw happen back in the 1970s, because inflation just kept going up and up and up, and the federal government had no other options but to really raise interest rates. And again, our country went into a terrible economic period. I am not saying that we are headed down the road to that extreme, but history has a funny way of repeating itself. So unless inflation starts to come down in some way, and I don't see how, because we have incredible demand and supplies are just not there, we could see a period where we're going to have higher interest rates. That potentially takes us into a recession.
Yeah, you know, I found it interesting that we hear Biden talking about Build Back Better and how it's going to create jobs. Well, we have jobs. We need people to get back to work, right?
That's exactly it. What the federal government actually needs to do is nothing. And that's really hard for a politician from the standpoint of talking a good game. We got to put these new policies into place because Trump ruined everything. Well, I got to tell you, from an economic standpoint, mean tweets aside, it seems like things were a heck of a lot better then than they are now. And we're coming out of a pandemic. So how do you come up with that we're going in the right direction? We are not. Government, get out of the way. Stop paying people to not work, and the free markets will adjust themselves.
Yeah. No, you're so right. I'm really missing those mean tweets today, that's for sure. We were talking about the supply shortage, and apparently there's going to be a shortage of artificial Christmas trees this year, and prices are jumping about 25%. There's also even a shortage of real trees because of fires and weather disasters. So I guess people need to start buying their trees right now if they want to have a tree this year.
Yeah, I think for the holiday season, people are going to have to start doing a lot of things in advance because unless people start to buy what they know they're going to need in the holidays and at least start thinking about it and having a plan right now, what's going to happen is we're going to have the spigots open right after Thanksgiving, which always happens, and the supplies just aren't going to be there, Stephanie. And what we're going to see is prices exploding. And so many people just can't afford where these prices are going to go. And unfortunately, that is going to lead to potentially a very unhappy holiday season for a lot of people who simply don't deserve it.
Yeah, and you mentioned Thanksgiving too. Some of the retailers and Sam's Club, they're all stocking up on turkeys. Something that people might need to get ahead on as well is either calling dibs on a turkey or purchasing it early or doing something.
Well, it's not just getting a turkey. What really the focus here is you have to get a larger turkey because the last couple years, the holidays have been, a lot less people because of all the panic of COVID. So now it's anticipated, forget about what Dr. Fauci says, the holidays are on. People are going to be gathering in large groups and they need a bigger turkey. And who can fit 2 turkeys in their oven? So this is a situation where we need to get those turkeys fattened up and we need to get them on the production line so we all have a better Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I would imagine that the gatherings will be much larger this year, especially because the vaccines are available for everyone who wants them. And we saw the Obamas having a huge birthday celebration. So people see that. They're like, well, if everyone else can celebrate what they're doing, like our family's going to do what we want to do. So, yeah, I would imagine that people are going to be trying to have their Christmas or Thanksgiving, their Hanukkah and everything else as normal as possible. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Steph.
Of course. Coming